In this video, we will learn about the chapter Motion of the NCERT class 9th textbook. Here we will be learning the definition of mechanics, its classification, the physical quantities, their classification, the examples of the classification that we do, the definition and difference between distance and displacement, few examples to understand it well. Then the definition and difference between speed and velocity, acceleration, and then the graphical representation of motion, the various kinds of graphs. We end the video with the graphical representations of the various kinds of motion. So let us begin with the definition of mechanics. So what do we mean with the word mechanics? Mechanics is the branch of physics that deals with the effect of forces. Effect of forces on objects or bodies. So mechanics is the branch of physics that deals with the effect of forces on various objects. Mechanics can be classified as statics and dynamics. Statics is the branch of physics that deals with bodies or objects at rest, bodies at rest under the effect of forces. Statics is that branch of physics that deals with bodies which stay at rest though the number of forces are acting on it. Dynamics is the branch of physics that deals with objects in motion under the action of forces. Very obvious, an object will be set in motion or will be in motion when some forces act on it. Dynamics can be further classified as kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics is what the chapter is under study. We are right now studying the chapter motion, which comes under kinematics. Kinematics is the branch of physics that deals with the objects in motion without considering the cause of motion. Kinematics is that branch of physics that studies motion of objects without considering the cause of motion. Kinetics is the branch of physics that also studies motion of objects by considering the cause of motion. This is how we differentiate kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics studies motion of objects, but it doesn't consider the cause of motion. But kinetics studies motion by considering the causes of motion. So this chapter is about kinematics. Let us now know the meaning of position of rest. When do we say that a body is at rest? A body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position. With respect to time and surrounding. If a body, as the time passes, does not change with respect to time and with respect to its own surroundings, if a body does not change its position, then the body is said to be at rest. And when do we say that a body is in motion? A body is said to be in motion if it changes. If it changes its position with respect to time and surroundings. So, if a body changes its position, changes. In the previous case, it does not change. So, if a body changes its position with respect to time, that is, as a time passes, the position of object also changes. So, with respect to time and surroundings, if a body's position changes, then the body is said to be in motion. We can classify motion as uniform motion and non-uniform motion. How do we define uniform motion and non-uniform motion? A body is said to be in uniform motion if it covers equal distances. If it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. If a body travels equal distances in equal intervals of time, then the body is said to be in uniform motion. But if a body travels unequal distances in equal intervals of time, unequal distances in equal intervals of time, then the body is said to be in a non-uniform motion. Examples of objects or bodies in uniform motion are the movement of needles over the clock, the flight of a bird, like that. The motion of planets around the sun. So those all are the examples of uniform motion. Non-uniform motion is any vehicle or any object on the road or around a certain location. Children running in a park. So those all motions are non-uniform motion. The movement of pendulum when it is not under forces, or when it is acted upon forces, then also such a motion is called uniform motion. So a body is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal distances in equal intervals of time. And a body is said to be in non-uniform motion if it travels unequal distances. So here equal distances in equal intervals of time. Non-uniform motion is if it travels unequal distances in equal intervals of time. A body is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal distances in equal intervals of time. Non-uniform motion is unequal distances in equal intervals of time. Now coming to physical quantities. All physical quantities are classified as scalar quantities, and vector quantities. Scalar quantities are those physical quantities which are described in terms of their magnitudes only. or those all physical quantities which have only magnitudes. Magnitude means a size or amount or quantity. So scalar quantities are those all physical quantities which are completely specified. So described or specified in terms of their magnitudes only. Vector quantities are those physical quantities which are described or specified in terms of their magnitudes as well as a direction. Those all physical quantities which are specified or explained or described in terms of their magnitudes and direction, those all physical quantities are called vector quantities. Scalar quantities are something, those all physical quantities which can be scaled. That means they can be measured using a proper scale of measurement. Say for example, distance is a scalar quantity. We only measure distance. Distance means the total or the actual length of path covered by a body. So distance is scalar. Temperature is scalar. When we talk about temperature, we only talk about the number, this many degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit or Kelvin or Riemann. So temperature is a scalar quantity. Mass is a scalar quantity. Speed is a scalar quantity. So etc. Volume of an object is a scalar quantity. That means those all physical quantities, when we talk about them, we only talk about the quantity or size. Those all are scalar quantity. We only talk about their magnitudes. Examples of vector quantities are force. Force is the best example. Force is a vector quantity. Why? Because when we talk about force, we talk about a push or a pull. That means this much amount of force in a certain direction. So when we talk about force, we talk about the quantity, means magnitude, as well as a direction. So force is a vector quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity. Acceleration is a vector quantity. Momentum is a vector quantity. Displacement is a vector quantity. So like this, there are many more examples. So how to understand? Scalar quantities are those all physical quantities which are expressed in terms of their quantity, means magnitude only. But vector quantities are those physical quantities which are described in terms of their magnitude and a direction. This is how we can differentiate scalar quantities and vector quantities. The first point is a definition. Physical quantities that are specified by their magnitudes only. They are scalar quantities. Physical quantities that are specified by their magnitude as well as their direction are vector quantities. Scalar quantities, when we add them by using the simple operations of mathematics, the way we add or subtract. So they are added using ordinary laws of algebra. But vector quantities are added or subtracted using vector laws or laws of vector addition. So we have to go to vector algebra to understand the laws of vector addition or subtraction. So vectors are added using the laws of vector addition. Examples of scalar quantities are distance, speed, mass, temperature, volume, and many. Vectors, examples are displacement. I have written them, the parallel. Distance is scalar, displacement is a vector. These two are measured with the same units, meters. Speed is a scalar, velocity is a vector. Both of them are measured in terms of a meter per second. Mass is a scalar, weight of an object is a vector. This is measured in kilograms, mass. Weight is measured in terms of newtons. The SI unit of measurement is different. Similarly, acceleration, momentum, these all are vector quantities. Now let us define the physical quantities, distance and displacement, and understand the similarities and dissimilarities between these physical quantities. how to define a distance traveled by a body. Distance traveled by the body is the total length or length of the actual path traveled or covered by the body or the object or the particle. This is how we define a distance. Then how do we define displacement? Displacement is the shortest distance traveled by the body between initial position and final position in a specific direction. So it is the shortest distance between the initial position or initial point and the final position or final point. Covered or traveled by the body in a specific direction. So, displacement is a direction specific. Friends, remember these points or these definitions. Distance is actually something like total length of the body that is traveled actually by the body. Length of the distance is the total length of the body that is actually covered by the body in any direction. So it's not a direction specific. Whereas displacement is the shortest distance traveled by the body between initial position and the final position in a specific direction. This is how we define distance and displacement. Friends, in our vehicles we have a device called odometer. Odometer is something that is fixed in our device, in our vehicles. This device, odometer, this reads the distance traveled by the body. That means the day of the vehicle we begin or using, since then how much actually the total length of the path actually we have traveled, that is what the device odometer reads. So odometer reads a distance, not a displacement. So to understand better the terms distance and displacement, or to easily calculate the distance and displacement, let us take up some example questions to have more clarity on the topic. So, let me consider the case of a straight line. So, consider a body traveling in a straight line. From point A to point B, which is a straight line. The distance between these two, we say some 5 kilometers. So the body started from A and it traveled all the way to B. So what is the distance traveled by the body from a point A to B? So A to B, the total length is 5 kilometers, so distance is 5. Then what is the displacement from points A to B? Since a displacement is also the shortest distance from A to B. For a straight line, shortest distance is actually the total length of the line. So displacement is also 5 kilometers. Now let me take up one more example where we can differentiate it. Here distance and displacement came out to be same. So let us consider the case of a body traveling from location A to location B. A distance of say 5 meters. So A to B. Then the body travels from B to C a distance of say some 2 meters, and then the body travels from from C to a point D, another distance of say 3 meters. So here the body traveled from A to B, then B to C, then C to D. So this is the actual path. Length of the actual path is called a distance. So in this case, distance traveled by the body from location A to location D is 5 plus 2 plus 3, so 10 meters. And displacement from point A to B. This is a nice example to really differentiate these two terms. Displacement is what? Displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and the final point, and displacement has got nothing to do with the path traveled by the body. So the shortest distance from A to B is a straight line. So shortest distance from A to B is a straight line. So displacement is the length of line segment AD. So this is how we find distance and displacement for bodies which travel in straight line. Now what about bodies traveling in circular motion? Bodies in circular motion. So let me take up the example of a body in circular motion. Say a body travels in a circular path of radius say 5 meters. So this will be the center of the circle. The radius is some 5 meters. There is no reason behind taking 5. It's an example. So the body starts from location A, travels all the way and completes one round the circle. So one round is covered. In this one round journey, what is the distance traveled by the body? Distance traveled by the body on completing one round the circle is the length of the actual path traveled by the body. And what is the length of actual path in this case? It is the total length of the circle. Total length of the circle means a circumference. Circumference of the circle of radius 5. Circumference is 2 pi r. So 2 pi r is 5. So 10 pi units. And here it is meters. So this much is the distance travelled. Then what about a displacement? Displacement at the end of completion or at the end of one round travelled by the body. Displacement is the shortest distance between initial position and final position. At the end of one round, from where the body started, it came back there only. So there is no displacement. So displacement is 0. So here we can clearly understand the difference between distance and displacement. Let me take up one more similar example on circular motion to be more specific about the terms distance and displacement. Say the body is traveling in a circular path and travels all the way A and completes half the circle and reaches the point B. A is the initial point and B is the final point or final position. So the body travels only half a circle. So in this case, what is the distance travelled from point A to B? Since the body travelled semicircle, it will be travelling half the circumference. Circumference is 2 pi r. 2 pi r's a half is this. So pi r is the distance travelled. R is 5. So 5 into pi. This many meters is the distance travelled. Then what about displacement? Displacement as the body covers a semicircle. So displacement from A to B. Displacement is the shortest distance from initial position to final position irrespective about the path covered but specific about a direction. So displacement is shortest. Shortest distance from A to B is the diameter. So it is the diameter because the body covered semicircle So shortest distance is going to be the diameter of the circle. Diameter of the circle is 5 plus 5 or 2 times 5, that is 10 meters. So this is how we can understand and differentiate the terms distance and displacement. But in both the cases, we have understood that it is the length that we are calculating. Distance is the total length and displacement is the shortest distance. So it is something that is very long, this is something which is short. So here, an important point to be noted is distance travelled by the body is always going to be greater than a displacement. But if a body travels in a straight line, this is important. If a body travels in a straight line, as we have taken the first example, distance travelled by the body will be equal to displacement. This is a nice 1 mark question that appears many times in the exams. When is a distance and displacement same? Or sometimes they ask us, when is speed and velocity same? So distance and displacement will be equal to each other if a body travels in straight line. But in general, distance is always greater than displacement. Right. Next, since distance is only the length of the actual path travelled by the body, distance is always something related to magnitude only. So distance is a scalar quantity, something that can be scaled, or using a proper scale we can measure it. So it is a scalar quantity. Whereas displacement is the shortest distance between initial position and final position in a specific direction. So displacement is a direction specific. So displacement is a vector quantity, something that follows the laws of vector algebra. Right. Then, since these are both distances, so both are in CGS units, they are measured in centimeters. CGS unit of distance and displacement is centimeter, and SI, Standard International Unit, or the MKS unit of distance as well as displacement is meters. METERS or METRES. So SI unit or MKS unit of distance and displacement is meters. Having learned the definition and meaning of distance and displacement, let us move on to the next physical quantities in this topic, speed and velocity. They appear synonymous but they are different. So we define the speed of a body as the distance travelled by a body in unit time. So, speed is the distance travelled by a body in unit time. So, we can write speed as distance divided by time. And if we are writing the definition for average speed, we will write a total distance divided by total time. Since speed is a distance by time and distance is a scalar quantity, so speed is also a scalar quantity. Speed is measured in terms of, or the SI or MKS unit of speed is that we can find using the formula. Distance is meters, time is second. So meter per second or meter second inverse, and CGS, unit of speed, is a centimeter per second. Then we have certain terms or definitions like instantaneous speed. As the word indicates, instantaneous speed means speed of a body at an instant of a time, at a particular moment of time, whatever is the speed of the body. So instantaneous speed is found using a device called the speedometers. Speedometers are the instruments or devices that is fixed in our vehicles, which reads instant speed, that is speed at that very moment. The way odometer reads a total distance travelled, similarly speedometer reads instantaneous speed. Likewise, we have certain concepts like uniform speed and non-uniform speed. These are defined the way we define uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So, we can define uniform speed as if a body covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, then the body is said to be in uniform speed. And if a body covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time, then the body is in non-uniform speed. Next, this is about the basic things, speed. Let us understand speed based on graphs. Friends, these are very simple topics, but we are supposed to know the difference between speed and velocity and what is the similarity. So, graphically talking about speed. Graphically, when we talk about speed, we have to plot the graph between time along x-axis and distance along y-axis. If the graph for distance and time is a straight line starting from origin and the graph is neither parallel to x-axis nor parallel to y-axis, then such a graph indicates that the body is in uniform speed, or the body has uniform speed, or we can generalize and say that the body has uniform motion. It is in uniform motion. If the graph of distance versus time is a straight line means uniform motion. But if the graph is like this, neither parallel to x-axis nor parallel to y-axis, its meaning is as the time increases, distance also increases, means the position of body also changes. So the body has uniform speed. Why? Because the body travels equal distances in equal intervals of time. That is what is the meaning of uniform speed. If the graph of distance versus time is a straight line parallel to x-axis, its meaning is as the time increases, the position of the body is the same. That means the location of the body did not change. So the body has not changed with respect to its surroundings, though time has changed. So such a graph indicates that the body is at a rest, or the object is at rest. Sometimes we are asked to read from the graph what does this kind of a graph indicate. So if a graph is like parallel to x-axis, before giving any conclusion, first we have to see the graph is between which physical quantities. If it is between distance and time or displacement and time, then a graph parallel to x-axis indicates that the body is at rest or the body is stationary. Stationary means it is stationed at a particular location. Next, for a graph which is in uniform motion for time along x-axis and distance along y-axis, if we have a graph starting from origin or not starting from origin, then also no problem. It should be a straight line, but it should not be parallel to x-axis or y-axis. Such a graph talks about uniform speed. Such graphs slope when we find. slope of such a graph. Slope means how to find. Locate any 2 points on the straight line and drop altitude on x-axis. And also from the same 2 points drop altitude on y-axis. And in the process complete the triangle. You can clearly see there is a right angle triangle ABC. If the font is very small, watch this on a computer desktop or a television screen. So, slope of this graph, slope of distance versus time graph gives the information of speed. So this is also a very valuable point. Slope of distance versus time graph will give us speed. How to find a slope? Slope of this graph is a speed, as I just said. Slope is always the ratio of perpendicular by base. Perpendicular is a AB and base is a BC. So which is a speed? So we can find a speed from graph like this. For a graph which is between distance and time, if we calculate a slope, we will get a speed. Now AB is what? See friends, on x-axis the first point x1, next point x2. On y-axis the first one y1, next is y2. So we can make out, if this is x1, this distance is x1. And if this point is x2, this distance is x2. In that case, this gap is equal to BC. Why? Because rectangles opposite sides are equal. So whatever is this distance is BC. Similarly, whatever is this distance will be AB. So let us first find BC. BC is what? X2 minus X1. That means the long length minus short length. So BC is X2 minus X1. Similarly, this gap is what? The bigger minus smaller. So AB is Y2 minus Y1. So AB is Y2 minus Y1 and BC is X2 minus X1. So this is how we find speed of a body from distance versus time graph. Now velocity of a body is defined as is the distance travelled by a body in unit time in a specific direction. Specific direction. Yes. So velocity of a body is the distance travelled by a body in a unit time in a specific direction. The only difference in the definition of speed and velocity is speed is the distance travelled by the body in unit time, but velocity is the distance travelled by a body in unit time in a specific direction. So velocity talks about a direction. Velocity considers a direction. So velocity is a vector quantity, but speed is a scalar quantity. We can write velocity, since it considers a direction, as a displacement divided by time. And if we want to define average velocity, we have to write average velocity as total displacement by total time. Since displacement is a vector, velocity is also a vector quantity. Velocity and speed are measured on the same units, since distance and displacement both are measured in terms of centimeters in CGS and meters in MKS. So the SI or MKS, MKS means a meter kilogram second, SI is a standard international. Unit of velocity is meter per second, very similar, same as speed, and CGS, unit of velocity is centimeter per second. Then we have a term or a definition called instantaneous. Instantaneous velocity. The way we had instantaneous speed. Instantaneous speed is the speed of a body at an instant of time, and that we read using a device or instrument called speedometer that is fixed to our vehicles. Instantaneous velocity is also velocity of a body at an instant of time. But direction of instantaneous velocity can be found by drawing tangent to the curve of the graph of a variable velocity. Means when the body is in non-uniform velocity. Like this, I show a glimpse of it. Say we draw a graph with time along x-axis and displacement along y-axis. Then the graph for a body in non-uniform motion will be a curve. So the curve can be in whatever way. I have shown like this. So since the body has a variable velocity means the body is traveling at unequal distances in equal intervals of time. It is in non-uniform motion. So we can find speed of the body at a particular instant of time. So at one instant of time, say at point P. At this point, what is the instantaneous velocity? For that purpose, we have to draw tangent to the graph. Tangent means a line that touches a circle or a curve at a point. That is called tangent. So this will be the direction of instantaneous velocity. And we can calculate also instantaneous velocity means at this point what is the instantaneous velocity, that we can calculate. If we call this angle as a theta, then instantaneous velocity will be found using tan of theta. Tan of this angle, if we find, that will be the instantaneous velocity. Then we have terms like uniform velocity and non-uniform velocity. How do we define uniform velocity? If a body covers equal displacement in equal intervals of time, then the body is in uniform velocity, or the body has uniform velocity. And if a body's displacement is different in equal intervals of time, that means it covers unequal displacements in equal intervals of time, then the body has, or the body is in non-uniform velocity. So these are certain basic definitions or concepts related to velocity. Few more on graphs related to velocity of a body, or graphs on displacement versus time. Time along x-axis and displacement along y-axis. So consider the graph with time along x-axis and displacement along y-axis. If the graph is a straight line from origin neither parallel to x-axis nor parallel to y-axis, then this kind of a graph indicates uniform velocity. That means the body is in uniform velocity. And if the graph is a straight line parallel to x-axis, then the body is at rest. Now, if a body is in uniform velocity, then the slope of this graph, slope of displacement versus time graph gives velocity. See, in the before slide we discussed slope of distance versus time graph gives speed, but slope of displacement versus time graph gives velocity. How to find slope of a graph which is in uniform motion? The same procedure. Mark any 2 points on the graph. In fact, any 2 points. And from those 2 points, drop altitudes on x-axis. Call this point as x1 and this is x2. And from these 2 points, drop altitudes on y-axis. This is y1, this is y2, and in the process complete the right triangle. Then name the triangle as ABC. Then slope of the graph, which is between a displacement and time, gives velocity. So we can calculate average velocity. This is not instantaneous. Instantaneous velocity will be for the body which is in non-uniform motion, the way I have drawn the graph before, curve. But if the graph is a straight line, we will get average velocity by calculating slope. So we are going to calculate average velocity, which is a slope. Slope is the ratio of perpendicular by base. Perpendicular is AB, base is BC. And from this, the opposite sides are equal. So AB and this distance is same. And this distance is the bigger number minus smaller number. So Y2 minus Y1. And BC is equal to this distance, and this distance is the bigger minus smaller, that is x2 minus x1. So velocity can be found using the formula y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1 graphically. Now to understand the difference between speed and velocity, let us pick up an example. So let us consider a point A. A body or an object or a particle at point A travels, say, 3 kilometers east to a point B. And after reaching B, the same particle or the object travels 4 kilometers north of B to a point C. Now, in this journey, what is the speed and what is the velocity of the body? So this is the question. So since we have just learnt that speed is distance divided by time and velocity is displacement divided by time. So this is what the formulas or definitions we have just learned. So this implies speed of the body is the distance travelled. Distance means actual or the length of the actual path of the body. So distance is what? 3 plus 4. This many kilometers. Okay. So in a time duration of. So here total time of journey be some 2 hours. Then time is 2 hours. So here this is 7 by 2 kilometers per hour or 3.5 kilometers per hour is the speed of the body. Then what about velocity? Velocity is displacement by time. Displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and final point. Initial point is A and final point is C. The shortest distance. So AC is the shortest distance. How to find length of AC? Since it is 3 kilometers east and 4 kilometers north, so angle between them should be 90. Since 3, 4, 5 are Pythagorean triplet, AC length is 5. So displacement is 5 kilometers, time is 2 hours. So velocity is 2.5 kilometers per hour. So here through this example, we can note a point that speed of a body is greater than its velocity. Speed came out to be 3.5 and velocity came out to be 2.5. Then what is the condition that a body's speed and velocity both are same? When do we say that speed and velocity of a body or a particle or a traveling object is the same? The question is, when is average speed is equal to average velocity? When do we say that average speed and velocity are same? See friends, to answer this, let us once again write the definition of average speed, which is total distance divided by total time. Similarly, average velocity. Average velocity is total displacement by total time. Velocity is total displacement divided by total time. Here, average speed and average velocity will be equal only when the distance becomes equal to displacement, since time is common for both the cases. And when do we find distance and displacement same? Distance travelled by a body will be equal to displacement only in one condition. Distance is equal to displacement only if the body travels in a straight line. Whenever a body travels in a straight line, say between the points A and B, from A to B the body travels and distance between these 2 points is some 2 kilometers. Then what is the distance travelled from A to B? 2 kilometers. And what is the displacement from A to B? That is also the shortest distance between point B and A, that is 2 kilometers. So distance and displacement will be same if the body is in straight line. So therefore, when do we say that average speed and velocity are same? Average speed will be equal to average velocity when a body travels in a straight line. This is an important point. Now talking about the physical quantity acceleration. Acceleration is denoted by the alphabet small a, and we define acceleration as the rate of change of a velocity or rate of change in velocity of a body. Acceleration is the rate of change of a velocity. Since it is related to velocity, velocity is a vector quantity, so acceleration is also a vector quantity. We write mathematically acceleration as the rate. Rate means with respect to time, t for time, change in velocity. So we have a final velocity and an initial velocity. V stands for final velocity of a body and U stands for initial velocity of a body. So A is equal to V minus U by T. This is the mathematical expression for acceleration. Now we can talk about 3 types of acceleration. One is called the positive acceleration. Positive acceleration or just acceleration. Negative acceleration. Negative acceleration means a deceleration or a retardation. And the third one is a zero acceleration. Zero acceleration is otherwise uniform acceleration. So, how do we define positive acceleration? Negative acceleration means a retardation or a deceleration, and zero acceleration. Positive acceleration is acceleration. So, acceleration is the rate of change in velocity. So, we define this as if velocity of a body increases with respect to time, then the body has positive acceleration, or simply acceleration. If a velocity of a body increases with respect to time, then the body is accelerating. Means when the body starts from rest and its speed keeps on increasing with respect to time, then the body is accelerating. What is the meaning of negative acceleration? If velocity of a body decreases with respect to time, then the body is in a negative acceleration, or the body is decelerating. The body is decelerating. That means if velocity of a body decreases with time. And when do we see deceleration? When brakes are applied. That means when the body is already traveling with certain velocity and all of a sudden brakes are applied, then the body's velocity changes from high velocity to zero velocity. That is called deceleration. Then what is the meaning of a zero acceleration or uniform acceleration? A body is said to be in uniform acceleration or said to have zero acceleration if velocity of the body remains the same throughout. Velocity of a body remains the same, S-A-M-E, same, throughout. Then the body is said to have uniform acceleration or zero acceleration. Then we have to learn something related to graphs on acceleration. How to find acceleration graphically. To find acceleration graphically, we need a graph between velocity along y-axis and time along x-axis. When we plot these two in the respective axis, then if we draw a graph which is a straight line starting from origin, neither parallel to x-axis nor parallel to y-axis, then such a graph talks about uniform motion or uniform acceleration, because as a time changes at equal intervals of time, there is an equal change in velocity. So such a graph talks about uniform acceleration, means a zero acceleration. Uniform acceleration is defined as, or a body is said to be in uniform acceleration if its velocity does not change with respect to time. That means for every equal intervals of time, the velocity remains the same. So there's a equal. So such kind of motion is called uniform acceleration. Now, the graph need not be from origin, but if the graph is a straight line, neither parallel to x-axis nor parallel to y-axis, something like this, then slope of this kind of a graph or this kind of a graph, slope of velocity versus time graph gives acceleration of the body. So when we find the slope of velocity versus time graph, we get acceleration. What else we can find from velocity versus time graph? Area under velocity versus time graph. Area under velocity versus time graph gives us the total displacement. So when we want to calculate total displacement from a graph, we have to find the area under, so this line is called graph, the black line. So the area under the graph up to x-axis. So this trapezium area, if we calculate, we will get displacement if the graph is between velocity and time. So here itself I mentioned one more thing. If area under velocity versus time graph gives a total displacement, then what we will get by calculating or finding area under speed versus time graph? Area under speed versus time graph gives total distance traveled by the body. So these are very nice and interesting points. Area under speed versus time graph gives us a total distance traveled by the body. So these are the few points related to acceleration.